I never realized that total humiliation could be served on a silver platter. But there I was, squeezed into the third row of my younger sister's over-the-top wedding. I was wearing a simple navy dress I'd found on a clearance rack, doing my absolute best to just blend into the background. I felt like a smudge on a clean window, in a room full of people who looked like they stepped out of a luxury magazine. The scent of 5,000 imported lilies was thick in the air, cloying and sweet. But it couldn't mask the heavy, nervous feeling in my stomach. Beside me sat my 8-year-old son, Leo. He was swinging his legs and looking down at his little suit with so much pride. That suit cost me 2 weeks of grocery money, but I paid it gladly just to make sure he felt like he belonged. He leaned over and whispered, "Mom, you look like a queen." For a split second, I actually believed him. I really thought this wedding was our welcome back into the family, after 3 years of being kept at a cold distance. I wanted to believe the forgotten birthdays were all just a big misunderstanding. But as the music started, I realized I was wrong. It wasn't a celebration. It was a setup. My sister, Maya, was the sun everyone orbited. Beautiful, effortless, and worshipped by our mother, Elena. In our house, Maya was the success story, and I was the cautionary tale. Growing up, I was the walking example of what happens when you fail at life. Still, I showed up. I clapped until my hands ached and ignored the whispers from guests. They asked if I was really the older sister because I looked so weathered. Working 2 jobs, a barista shift in the morning and a hotel desk at night will do that. I looked at the glittering diamonds around Maya's neck. Then I looked at my own calloused hands, wondering how we ended up so far apart. Then came the speeches. The clink of a spoon against crystal silenced the room. When Maya stood up, glowing under the chandeliers, she looked right at me. I actually leaned forward, a small spark of hope warming my chest. I thought, maybe this is it. Maybe she's finally going to say something kind in front of everyone. "I want to say something special about my big sister, Laura," Maya said into the mic. Her voice was sweet as honey, but her eyes were cold. I squeezed Leo's hand. He was beaming, waiting for the world to hear how great his mom was. "Laura has been such a unique role model," Maya continued, her smile widening. The room went quiet, sensing a shift in the air. She's a single mom, so strong, so independent, and clearly so unwanted by any man on earth that she had to show up here alone. Just as the room began to ripple with the first wave of laughter, a kind waitress leaned down and tapped me on the shoulder. She whispered that Leo had dropped his toy in the hallway. She offered to help him go find it and wash up in the restroom. I nodded quickly, desperate to get him away from the poison in Maya's voice. Leo hopped up and followed her, completely oblivious to the trap being sprung. As the door swung shut behind him, the laughter in the room exploded. I sat there alone at table 9, staring at my sister. I waited for the just kidding part, but it never came. She just stood there with a triumphant grin, basking in the mockery. Then, the final blow. My mother, Elena, leaned toward the mic from the head table. Her face was twisted in a cold, mocking smirk. "She's a permanent disappointment," my mother added loudly. Her voice echoed through the massive hall. "But hey, she still expects us to cheer for her, doesn't she? Even though she has nothing to show for her life." The roar of laughter that followed was sharp enough to draw blood. I sat there, frozen, feeling the weight of 300 mocking eyes. I realized then that I wasn't a guest, I was the entertainment. Just as the laughter began to die down, the side door opened. Leo walked back in, smiling and holding a clean toy, heading toward his seat. He had missed the entire speech. He hadn't heard a single word of the hate they had thrown at me. But then, the groom had seen everything. He wasn't laughing. He looked at Maya, then at my mother. Then at the room full of people mocking a mother while her child was just steps away. His expression turned the air to ice. Ben didn't say a word at first. He just stood there, clutching the microphone until his knuckles were white. Maya reached for his hand, her ring sparkling under the lights. But Ben pulled away like her touch burned him. He didn't exit the stage to the right. He stepped off the platform and started walking. Straight toward the back of the room, toward me. The guests went silent as he stopped right as Leo reached his chair. Ben looked down at my son, then he looked at me. For the first time in my life, I saw true respect in a man's eyes. "I'm not marrying a bully today," Ben's voice boomed through the speakers. He looked at the head table with absolute disgust. "Lara, I can't stay here, and neither should you." Ben reached down and took Leo's small hand in his. Then he reached out his other hand to me. "Let's get out of here," he said firmly. "All of us." I looked at his hand, then at my sister's horrified, blotchy face. I reached out and I took it. We walked out together, just me, Ben, and Leo. We left the expensive flowers, the cake, and the toxic family behind. Over the next 6 months, things didn't happen like a fairy tale. They happened like real life. Ben and I took it slow, building a foundation of trust. We spent time at the park with Leo, having talks about things that actually mattered. He told me that seeing my strength that day changed him. He realized he didn't want a trophy. He wanted a partner with a soul. Meanwhile, karma hit my family like a freight train. Without Ben's money, Maya and my mother's perfect life evaporated. Maya's cruel speech went viral, and she became a villain in the eyes of the world. She ended up working a retail job just to pay the rent, the work she once mocked. It wasn't until a quiet Tuesday evening, months later, that Ben brought out a ring. We were in my small apartment. Leo was asleep, and there were no crowds. Ben looked at me and said, "Lara, I want to be the man who stands by you forever." This time, the proposal was for me. I showed my son that you don't have to accept the labels people give you. Sometimes, you have to walk away from a silver platter to find a life worth living. A few months after the proposal, we held our own ceremony. It couldn't have been more different from the one we left behind. We didn't need a massive estate or 5,000 lilies. We held it in a quiet garden with just a handful of our closest friends. There were no cameras, no press, and no toxic speeches. Just a few people who truly loved us for who we were. Leo stood right beside Ben as his best man, wearing a suit that he finally felt he truly belonged in. When we exchanged our vows, the air didn't feel heavy or cold. It felt like finally being able to breathe after a lifetime underwater. Ben looked at me and promised to always be the partner I deserved. And I promised to never let anyone make us feel unwanted ever again. We didn't need a silver platter to find our happiness. We found it in the quiet moments, the shared laughter, and our small, new family. As we walked back down the aisle as husband and wife, I looked at Ben and Leo and knew I was finally home. Maya was right about one thing that day. I was a role model. I showed my son that when you walk away from cruelty, you find a life worth living. And today, we are more than just happily married. We are finally free.